Hello everyone, and welcome back to Whispers of Turkish Stars. Today we're diving into a topic that has taken over timelines, fan pages, and comment sections across the internet. It's the kind of whisper that turns into a roar overnight, the possibility that Afra Sarıkoglu might be expecting a baby with Mert Demir. Is there truth behind the buzz, or are we all getting swept up in a mirage built from shadows, angles, and wishful thinking? We're going to sift through the chatter, trace the breadcrumbs, and listen closely to what's being said or carefully implied to understand how this all started and where it might lead. And if you love entertainment talk, layered breakdowns, and the heartfelt drama of celebrity lives, make sure you're subscribed to Whispers of Turkish Stars with notifications on, so you never miss what's next. There's a certain magic to the private lives of stars, especially when two names collide into a shared narrative that fans feel part of. Afra and Mert are that kind of couple. Their story captured attention the moment they met on the set of Yali Kapkini, where they embodied Seyran and Ferhat with a chemistry that refused to stay confined to scripts and call sheets. On screen, their gazes told stories writers hadn't penned yet. Off-screen, their ease with each other had viewers reading every smile like a secret letter. Even through phases where they chose not to spell out labels, the glances, the laughs, the quiet support said enough. Fans stayed, rooted, ready for more. Lately, their shared sightings have stirred up a familiar fever. If there's one thing fans know, it's that even when Afra and Mert move quietly, the air around them gets loud. A dinner here, a hug captured by a passing lens there, a weekend getaway whispered about by someone who swears they saw them, little moments that build momentum. And then, out of nowhere, a spark, the suggestion that Afra might be pregnant. This isn't the first time her name has been brushed by speculation like this, but this time the murmurs feel more insistent, the patterns more closely observed, the hope more palpable. Where did it begin? Like many stories in the digital era, it started as a cluster of tiny clues on social media. Watchful eyes noticed subtle shifts, softer silhouettes in photos, looser fits in recent outfits, a hand placement that seemed intentional in one snapshot and protective in another. There were captions that felt like hints, schedules that suddenly had gentler edges, nights out that turned into nights in. A few private family moments surfaced, and some commenters swore they saw a glow that wasn't just lighting. It's a familiar dance, one image becomes two, and suddenly there's a thread where every detail feels meaningful. But attention to detail can't thrive without silence, and silence is exactly what has amplified this entire conversation. Afra and Mert haven't made any direct statement on the rumor, and in an age where responses are expected in real time, not saying anything is often interpreted as saying everything. Some believe silence is confirmation without confession. Others hear it as a boundary drawn with care, a shield against the noise, a way to keep something tender safe from hands that would pick it apart. In between those interpretations sits the unavoidable truth that they're public figures who still have the right to privacy, even if their love story is beloved by many. Then there's the way Mert moves through the narrative. He hasn't posted a flashing neon sign that answers the question, but his presence has been unmistakably steady. He's been seen cheering Afra on a like, a comment, a quiet appearance at the edge of a frame, a shared smile that lingers just long enough to spark theories. Fans read companionship into the way he stands beside her without fuss, into the calmness he brings into rooms where cameras never miss a pulse. To some, the warmth between them feels like a quiet celebration of something they don't owe the world just yet. In Turkish entertainment, romances are practically a genre of their own. We fall in love with relationships formed on the sets of shows that cross borders and subtitles, and we hold on to those feelings when the lights switch off and the actors go home. Afra and Mert fit that framework so seamlessly that sometimes it's hard to tell where Ferhat and Seyran end and where their real lives begin. It's no surprise that the possibility of a child, of a future that extends beyond premieres and finales, has fans leaning in closer, straining to catch even the softest hint of confirmation. The media, of course, has done what it does best, reflect and magnify. Some outlets tread lightly, labeling the story as conjecture, wrapping sentences in maybe and possibly. Others go bolder, crafting headlines that read like verdicts. It's part of the ecosystem, where attention is the currency and certainty is often staged as an illusion. The responsibility then falls on viewers to be discerning, to ask what's real and what's merely well-packaged suspense, to understand that sometimes a story is just a wish dressed up like evidence. So has Afra said anything that counts as a real answer? Not in the straightforward sense. No official announcement, no video address, no carefully worded statement meant to halt the rumor mill. Still, interpretations abound. Recent appearances have ignited fresh rounds of speculation. A nipped-in waist one week, a flowy silhouette the next. Comfortable shoes at an event where she might usually wear heels. A hand resting on her midsection in a photo with family. Choices that are simple on the surface, yet under the magnifying glass of fame, they morph into possible messages for those eager to decode them. This is where the conversation often turns uncomfortable, the way scrutiny lands heavier on women, the way motherhood is framed as a finish line they're expected to cross. The pressure doesn't always come from malice, sometimes it's simply the force of expectation, 1,000 voices asking the same question all at once. That's why speaking gently about Afra matters, why giving her space isn't just courteous but kind. If she and Mert are navigating something monumental, they deserve the dignity to do it on their own terms. Then again, it's entirely possible that the entire story is a mirage built from carefully cropped frames and eager imaginations. False alarms happen. Sometimes a rumor is born because someone wants attention. Sometimes it travels because people want to believe in a fairy tale. Sometimes a couple allows the mystery to hang in the air because there's something beautiful about holding a secret as your own. But when it comes to Afra and Mert, their calm, grounded presence suggests that performance for the sake of spectacle isn't their thing. If there were news worth sharing, it feels likely they would place it gently into the hands of the people who matter first: family, friends, and then, eventually, the fans who have rooted for them through every twist. Their recent approach to the spotlight has been careful. Not guarded in a way that shuts everyone out, but mindful in a way that lets peace seep in. The quiet has only intensified the curiosity. Are they being strategic, choosing a time and place for whatever announcement may come? Or are they simply basking in the kind of private calm that fame rarely allows? For now, the only voice speaking loudly is the chorus of interpretations crafted from gestures, glances, and the cadence of two people moving in step. Scroll through social media, and you'll see the split in perspective. Some fans glow with excitement, writing messages filled with joy as if the news were already real. They talk about baby names, beams of light, the next chapter in a story they've claimed as theirs. Others keep their feet on the ground, asking for patience and perspective, remembering all the times a rumor ballooned and burst with nothing inside. In both groups, though, there is love, a genuine care for Afra and Mert that bridges the gap between hope and restraint. It's important to say this plainly: there are real people at the center of the conversation. Behind every filtered photo and rehearsed scene are two hearts building a life that belongs to them. Rumors can be heavy to carry, especially when every move is calculated by strangers as if it were a plot twist in a series. It wouldn't be surprising if they chose quiet not as an answer, but as a sanctuary. Sometimes silence isn't a secret, it's a boundary. So where does that leave us? With possibilities. Until Afra or Mert speak in their own words, on their own time, everything remains a tapestry woven from interpretations. The so-called breaking of the silence, if it's happening at all, lives in soft markers, a change in pace, a shift in style, a closeness that feels newly luminous. But as long as there is no direct confirmation, there is room for every ending: the dream and the denial, the fairy tale and the false alarm. Here's what is not up for debate: the tidal wave of affection that greets their names wherever they appear. Whether they're preparing for parenthood or simply protecting the peace they've earned, Afra and Mert are held by a community that wants the best for them. That support matters. It buffers the noise, lifts the weight, and reminds everyone that love stories, even public ones, deserve gentleness. To recap our journey today, we traced the rise of the pregnancy rumors surrounding Afra Sarıkoglu and Mert Demir. We followed the breadcrumbs, the photos, the outfits, the presences and absences, and we measured them against silence that says nothing and seems to say everything. We also paused to honor the balance between curiosity and respect, remembering that narratives like this thrive in the spaces we leave for them, and that kindness should always be the baseline when we talk about real lives. What do you think? Do you see signs others have missed? Do you believe the whispers are true, or do you think time will gently prove this to be another cloud passing in front of the sun? Tell us in the comments. We read them, we feel your excitement, and we welcome your restraint. And if this conversation drew you in, if you crave the thrill and tenderness of stories that unfold in real time, like this video, share it with the fellow fans in your life, and subscribe to Whispers of Turkish Stars. Turn on your notifications so you're here when the next clue arrives, or when the only voices that really matter, Afra and Mert, decide it's time to let us in. Until then, we'll be watching not for proof, but for presence. We'll be listening not for answers, but for timing. Because some revelations are too precious to be rushed, too meaningful to be wrestled from the people living them. And whether this rumor blooms into an announcement or settles into silence, one truth remains. The story of Afra Sarıkoglu and Mert Ramazan Demir has never needed a headline to make us care. It had our attention from the first shared glance on Yali Kapkini, and it holds it still, patiently, tenderly, just as it should.